Welcome back to the Professor's Lab. I'm Professor V, and this is round 3 of our September League Challenge that happened at Die Hard Games on September 12th, 2024. If you didn't know, Die Hard League happens every Thursday at 6 p.m. Central, featuring casual and tournament play of whatever format everyone wants. Stellar Crown will be League Tournament legal at Die Hard Games starting Thursday, September 26th. Go see more info in this video's description and check out Pokemon's event locator for premiere and other events at the shop, such as league challenges, league cups, pre-releases, and more. Please hit that like button right quick. Subscribe to this channel. Ring the bell for notifications. Say what you need to say in the comments and all that other good free stuff. But anyways, let's research this game. On the left, Charizard Dragapult. On the right, Roaring Moon. Roaring Moon kicks things off for us by benching Roaring Moon EX times 2, and then going for a Nest Ball. That item card allows that player to search their deck for a basic Pokemon to add to the bench. That Squawkabilly EX fits the bill, flies onto the bench, and it's ready to use its Squawk and Seize ability that can only be used on the first turn. When you use it, you discard your hand and draw 6 fresh new cards. Perfect for this Turbo archetype here. Let's see if there's any other cards that want to be played before the Squawk and Seize. Nope. Squawk and Seize now, getting a fresh hand of 6. An Earthen Vessel being found and played, discarding a Darkness Energy to search the deck for up to 2 basic energy. Double Darkness being found here. We've got plenty of Darkness Energy in the discard pile to be accelerated with things like Professor Sada's Vitality and Dark Patch. So things seem to be flowing just nicely for our Darkness player here as they bench a Petron EX and then use Radiant Greninja's ability to discard an energy card and draw 2 more cards. Another Earthen Vessel is found here, discarding another Darkness Energy to search the deck for Double Darkness again. And you could see why this deck is called Turbo Roaring Moon. It just gets going. Even can potentially attack on their first turn, so thank goodness the player going first cannot attack on their first turn. Energy attached to the Golden Roaring Moon EX on the bench, and play is passed over to our lone Pidgey here. Got an Ultra Ball in hand, so they can at least establish a Charmander or a Dreepy. There's an Iono, so there's things to do here for our Dragapult Charizard player. It looks like they're starting off with an Ultra Ball. I think you do Ultra Ball before the Iono, but they're actually getting rid of an Iono. Okay. Wonder how many were actually in the hand. Maybe there was more than one or a different supporter that I missed. Either way, Ultra Ball has the player discard 2 cards, Iono and Energy Retrieval here, in order to search the deck for a Pokemon. Basic or Evolution. Just depends on what's in hand and what's your strategy, but you normally go for one of your basic main attackers. Looks like that Dreepy will be found here off of the Ultra Ball and put onto the bench. I don't see any other supporters in hand, so it looks like, oh, there's an Iono still. Okay, so Psychic Energy attached to the bench, Dreepy, and that's why they were able to discard the Iono earlier, because they had one in hand. Players deciding if that's the move they actually want to make here, and I think you've got to go for it. You got to try to find more basics to establish on the board here. So Iono has both players shuffle their hands, put them at the bottom of their deck, and then draw cards from the top equal to their remaining prize cards. Both players will get 6 here. And there is another Ultra Ball, but man, it's just such a steep cost to pay for a basic. Baby basic. You really want to be using your Ultra Balls to find those evolution Pokemon like the Charizard, the Dragapult, or the Pidgeot. But you gotta do what you gotta do sometimes to stay in the game. As our Dragapult Charizard player consults their discard pile, seeing what resources have been spent to better inform what should be played in their hand, as there is a Pal Pad in hand to be played. So if they want to make a top deck of an Iono, more likely they'll play that, and they decide that that's what they want to do. So Pal Pad will shuffle 2 supporters from the discard pile back into the deck, double Iono being recurred here. I'm not sure if there was much more in hand. Our player would like to get probably another Pidgey down, a Charmander, maybe another Dreepy, I'm not sure how focused on which evolution line this deck is, but Rocky Helmet is a tool card that's debating on being attached to the bench Dreepy. I think when the opponent attacks it, they take some damage thanks to the Rocky Helmet. We'll look it up and decide what it does when it becomes relevant. Rare Candy cannot be played here. Let's see if our players catch it. Okay, good. Rare Candy would normally allow the Pidgey to evolve straight into that Pidgeot, skipping the middle evolution, but Pidgey's only been on the field for one turn, so it can't attack yet. So things are passed over to our Roaring Moon player, who slams down a Pokestop Stadium and then plays a Professor Sada's Vitality to accelerate an energy from the discard pile to 2 ancient Pokemon in play. So both the Roaring Moon EX get a Darkness Energy accelerated to each of them, and then Professor Sada's has you draw 3 cards after that. Roaring Moon EX on the bench is almost fully powered up and will be now, thanks to that Dark Patch here, accelerating a Darkness Energy from the discard pile to one of your bench Darkness Pokemon. Next is Trekking Shoes. That item card has you draw the top card of your deck, and you can keep it or discard it and draw 1 more card. Don't need that Nest Ball right now, so that gets discarded and 1 more card gets drawn off of the Trekking Shoes. Do we have a pair of them? Yes, we do, every single time. Second Trekking Shoes is played, discarding a Night Stretcher and then settling for that final card there, or the next card there. Looks like it was Pheasantipity EX. That's not online right now, so instead gonna Ultra Ball, discarding 2 cards to search the deck for a Pokemon. Not, oh no, it wasn't Ultra Ball. It was, excuse me, Earthen Vessel that was played, discarding the Ultra Ball in order to search the deck for up to 2 basic energy cards. Just 1 Darkness Energy selected here. I imagine with all the Darkness Energy being found on that turn 1, there's probably no more in deck. So I'm just going to grab that 1, thin it out of the deck, consult the discard pile, probably seeing how much Darkness Energy is in there. So they could use a Concealed Cards with that Greninja in the active spot, discard a energy card to draw 2 more cards. Next, the player is going to activate Pokestop. That stadium allows the player to discard the top 3 cards of their deck, and then you can add any item cards discarded this way to the hand. So Pokemon, Double Pokemon Catcher and Squawkabilly are the hits off of the Pokestop. Very good here. Don't need the Squawkabilly anymore, and 2 items added to the hand. Now let's see if we could take out that Dreepy. I think that's the number 1 goal for our Roaring Moon player here with the double Pokemon Catcher in hand. We'll see if they decide to go for it. I know I would. It is very nice to knock out the Pidgey because we know the Rare Candy Pidgeot is in hand, unintentionally, but ooh, gonna go for the guarantee potentially here with the Prime Catcher. Yes. Nope, Pokemon Catcher first. Alright. Pokemon Catcher is an item card, has you flip a coin. If heads, it acts like boss's orders. You could bring one of your opponent's Pokemon from the bench into the active spot. It looks like we did connect with that heads there in order to bring that Lone Dreepy into the active spot. I think we can attach and... oh no, we actually can use Pecharunt here. Pecharunt has the Subjugating Chains ability. You can move a Darkness Pokemon from your bench into the active spot, and then that Pokemon is now poisoned. That's why we see that poison marker go on to that Roaring Moon EX. And it will use its Calamity Storm attack. I don't even think it had to use Calamity Storm there. Yeah, so the Calamity Storm attack does 100 base damage. And then if you discard a Stadium in play, it does 120 more. So overkill on that Dreepy there, but maybe our Roaring Moon player decided they don't want the opponent to have access to the Pokestop and got rid of it for that reason. So damage counter gets added to the Roaring Moon EX because of poison in between turns, and play resumes over on Pidgey's side. Let's see if we could find something like a Buddy Poffin to establish some more Pokemon. Our Dragapult Charizard player does have some time, and those 2 Pokemon definitely can make a comeback. So Rare Candy evolves that Pidgey into Pidgeot EX now, and Pidgeot EX has the Quick Search ability. Once per turn, you could search your deck for a card, put it in your hand. Looks like that's what we're seeing now is the Quick Search. And I think they would look for something like a Buddy Poffin to get more of your dudes out to be able to continue to play this wonderful Pokemon trading card game. Just depends on what's in hand, though. It looks like that an Iono as a supporter might be eyed up. It looks like that's what they're going to go for here. Quick search adds the Iono to the hand, and that gets played, shuffling both players' hands, putting up the bottom of their decks, and then drawing from the top equal to their remaining prize cards. 6 for our Pidgeot player here, 5 for the Roaring Moon player. And did we find Buddy Buddy Poffin or wait to find more Pokemon? Only time will tell here. I don't think I see one. I do see a Dreepy. I guess that's good. Find the Oh, and the Charmander. Who needs Buddy Buddy Poffin? Let's just draw the guys we're looking for. So Charmander and Dreepy put onto the bench. Artisan is now played. That allows the player to search their deck for a non-rule box basic Pokemon to add to the bench. And I think, yeah, you'd be getting as many out knowing that the opponent had double Pokemon Catcher in hand. I'm not sure if the Prime Catcher was flashed or caught by the opponent, but there's that as a guarantee for a KO as well. So here, yeah, you either go for another Dreepy or another Charmander. I'd probably go for another Charmander, but it just depends on what the Pokemon lines are in the deck and just their strategy and playstyle. Another Dreepy was decided upon with the Artisan. That's put into play. We've got our baby main attackers, at least, in play currently with the powerful Pidgeot EX. I think you have to retreat that Pidgeot EX into a single prizer here. It's sure to be KO'd with a Roaring Moon EX. Frenzied Gouging the next turn. There is additionally that Buddy Buddy Poffin, so that'll allow the player to search their deck for up to 2 basic Pokemon with 70 HP or less to add to their bench. I seen a Manaphy in there, so you'd probably just look for something useless to be able to push into the active spot. That's a fundamental strategy to use in the Pokemon trading card game, is giving your opponent the sacrificial 1 prize attacker if you can't do an attack or anything better, rather than giving them a 2 prize attacker, of course. Or excuse me, a 2 prize Pokemon. Attackers, I meant to say Pokemon if I said attacker the first time. Anyways, that Manaphy is found with that Buddy Buddy Poffin and put onto the bench. And Energy Retrieval is played next to bring back from the discard pile up to 2 basic energy. Just the 1 psychic in there currently, so that gets added to the hand. That will get attached to the bench Dreepy. And oh no, they left the Pidgeot EX in the active spot. Pidgeot EX does have free retreat, so it could have free retreated into that Manaphy. I don't think Manaphy's Wave Veil is doing anything in this matchup. Manaphy is able to, with its ability, protect the other bench Pokemon and itself, of course, from attack damage to the bench. Roaring Moon doesn't really do that, so it could have retreated into the 1 prize Manaphy, especially since the Roaring Moon EX can take 1-shots. It deletes the opponent's Pokemon, knocks it out instantly with its Frenzied Gouging attack. But let's see how things work out. The damage counter here should have ticked up to 20 damage, 10 more damage in between turns for each. Wow, the Pokemon's poisoned, excuse me. But usually it's not relevant, but can be very relevant here with Frenzied Gouging. But we'll just roll with things here as our Roaring Moon player, I think, is playing an Artisan. And no target was found off of that Artisan there. Something like the baby Roaring Moon could have been found if it was in deck. There we go. Our players caught the poison damage. And Pokestop replaces Artisan as a stadium in play. Next is Trekking Shoes to draw a card, and it looks like we're going to keep that card versus discarding it and drawing one more. Next is the Nest Ball to search the deck for a basic Pokemon to add to the bench. And the third spooky Roaring Moon gets established here. I think you'd probably like to Frenzied Gouging with the fresh Roaring Moon if you can. Frenzied Gouging, of course, says your opponent's active Pokemon is knocked out, and then the Roaring Moon EX does 200 damage to itself. with 230 HP. It wouldn't look good for a poison Roaring Moon using Frenzied Gouging, but maybe you just go ahead enough with the board state to not worry about giving your opponent two prize cards. But either way, that's all theory, as now the practice. Professor Sada's Vitality is played to accelerate energy to two ancient Pokemon in play from the discard pile. Looks like we do have a couple in there, so one goes onto the bench Roaring Moon, one onto the other from the discard, and then 3 cards are drawn from the top of the deck with that powerful supporter card here, fueling this entire Turbo Roaring Moon deck. Our player is consulting the discard pile, see what resources have been used to better inform their next decision, as now Pokestop is being played, discarding the top 3. They're all items, they all go to the hand. So much fuel as our player looks through their hand, deciding what's the next play. Are there any more darkness energy in the discard pile? As I see a dark patch, there must be, as dark patch is played. Oh, there's a few. To accelerate an energy onto another Roaring Moon on the bench. We are powering up all of our dudes here. And let's see if there's an energy in hand or a way to accelerate one more time. As a Pokemon catcher is played, flip that coin. If heads, boss's orders. Bring up that Dreepy with the energy attached. We're not worried about KOing that Pidgeot EX. You find whatever you want. I'm just going to take out your attackers and the energy, I guess, is what our Roaring Moon player is saying here. And Calamity Storm, discarding the Stadium for overkill knockout on that Dreepy with the energy. Pidgeot EX should move into the active spot here, as it has free retreat, and play resumes over on its side. With a top deck of an Arven, you can make some things happen there, combined with Quick Search. Arven can find Rare Candy and a tool, an item and a tool, and then the Pidgeot EX could find the Charizard EX, let's say. And Charizard EX can accelerate energy to itself, so let's see if our Charizard Dragapult player decides that that's the best route to take here, as they are activating Arven to search their deck for an item and a tool. Let's see what they decide upon. Oh, the Forest Seal Stone is a great tool grab, but only if you have Pokemon V in play to do a meaningful attachment of it too. As our player is deciding on the targets of Arven here. Remember, they do have access to finding a rare candy with the Arven, and then the Charizard EX with the Quick Search. Well, let's see what our player decides upon here. Yep, there is rare candy in deck. I think that's probably the best option. But I guess even if you do that, a Roaring Moon EX moves into the active spot and deletes the Charizard. But I guess you force the opponent to draw the energy or accelerate the energy that's needed, which of course a Roaring Moon deck is built to do that every turn, but you gotta do what you gotta do sometimes, as Rare Candy and Technical Machine Turbo Energize are found from the Arven here. Next, I think we'll see a Quick Search. Pidgeot EX in the active spot uses its Quick Search ability to search the deck for a card. Pick a card, any card. You don't even have to show the opponent if you don't want to. It looks like they are going for that Rare Candy Charizard play ultimately, so Charizard EX is grabbed with the Quick Search. Rare Candy allows that Charmander to evolve directly into Charizard EX. Charizard EX has the Infernal Rain ability. When you play this Pokemon from your hand to evolve one of your Pokemon during your turn, you may search your deck for up to 3 basic Fire Energy cards and attach them to your Pokemon in any way you like. So definitely 2 will be pulled out of the deck and attached to the Charizard EX to power up its Burning Darkness attack. And then you put the other Fire Energy on the bench Dreepy, so that way it can attack when it's its turn. Pidgeot free retreats into that Charizard EX with the Burning Darkness attack, 180 plus, 30 more damage for each prize card your opponent's taking. 80 plus, our 180 plus 60 is definitely enough to clean up the KO on the Roaring Moon across from it. So let's just see if there's any other plays in hand. I don't think so. Looks like there's nothing left to do but Burning Darkness for the knockout. And hope your opponent doesn't have a way to get another Darkness energy in play. Looks like our players are making sure they are doing everything correctly here in this round 3 of the League Challenge, as the Charizard EX attacks with Burning Darkness for the knockout. First 2 prizes taken for our Dragapult Charizard player here, as our Roaring Moon player promotes Roaring Moon EX into the active spot and play resumes over on its side. They must have access to that Darkness energy with that Roaring Moon going into the active spot. But I guess it doesn't matter too much who goes in the active spot, thanks to Petulant and its Subjugating Chains ability. And, of course, Professor Sada's Vitality, accelerating energy from the discard pile to each of the Roaring Moon in play, drawing 3 more cards. Oh, the Fezandipity EX is put onto the bench now. Flip the script. Its ability is online currently, but not before a... Nope, we're going to put a Pokestop in play, then do Fezandipity EX. Flip the script. Draw 3 cards from the top of your deck if your opponent took a KO on their last turn. Nice. Another nice new card we got from the Shrouded Fable expansion. Same with that Petulant EX mini set, but it definitely had major impact on our metagame. Anything else for our Roaring Moon player? I don't think so. They've got that Roaring Moon on the bench, so really just kind of have this game checked out here, as the active Roaring Moon EX uses Frenzied Gouging to knock out the opposing Charizard and deal 200 damage to itself. No poison, or it's currently not poisoned, so we don't have to worry about playing with those ticking poison counters in between turn. Our Charizard Dragapult player is definitely learning about the darkness today as they decide who to promote into the active spot. Remember, usually just a good call, usually the good call to promote the Free Retreater into the active spot, because it could retreat later if needed. As our Charizard Dragapult player starts their turn, Buddy Buddy Poffin is played now to search the deck for up to 2 basics with 70 HP or less to put onto the bench. 2 basic Pokemon, of course. And let's see how our Dragapult Charizard player can rebuild in this game. If Rare Candy Dragapult Psychic Energy is found, there will be a KO on the opponent's active, but then the Roaring Moon on the bench just moves into the active spot and takes the last 2 prize cards with Frenzied Gouging. So definitely not looking good for our Charizard player here, as that Buddy Buddy Poffin finds the Pidgey and puts it onto the bench. There is some more play in our player's hand, but now I'm not even seeing the attack. Rare Candy Dragapult EX, or way to find Dragapult EX would be needed. So next is Pokestop, and oh my gosh, discarded 2 of the Dragapult. Found the Ultra Ball at least with the Pokestop. What do you guys think of Pokestop? How has it treated you in your Pokestop legal career? Let me know in the comments. I'd say it's been mostly favorable for me. Definitely average, of course. Discards good stuff half the time. Finds you good stuff half the time. It's just one of those cards. As an Ultra Ball is played here, discarding a couple cards in order to search the deck for a Pokemon, Evolution or Basic. We did find the 3rd Dragapult EX, so that's good. Now, do we have the Rare Candy or a way to find it? No. The answer is no. Nest Ball, TM, Turbo Energize, and Dragapult EX in hand. I guess there is the Pidgeot. Excuse me, I keep forgetting about the Pidgeot and Quick Search. So first going to play Nest Ball to search the deck for a Luminion, but remember Luminion's Luminous Sign ability does not activate if it's put into play via Nest Ball. It only does so if it's put into play from the hand. So let's see how our players decide to resolve this here. Probably doesn't hurt our Dragapult Charizard player too much, but this is a league challenge and premier event, so usually once you make a move, it's final. Just depends on your opponent and the situation and everything. Use your best judgment, use some common sense. Rule 0 of the Pokemon trading card game. So let's see what other moves our player has. I think we do have to miss the attack here, sadly. So it's basically probably retreat into a one prizer and hope the opponent doesn't have a gust for game. Alright, yeah, just a pass. And oh, yep, like I said, they should have retreated that Pidgeot EX, because if not, game is guaranteed here. But let's see if that was caught or not. It looks like a quick search is potentially being used here to search the deck. And something like that rare candy can be found to evolve the bench Dreepy, but we're missing the psychic energy for the attack here. Would have been nice if the Pokestop hit a rare candy, then you would have had one of the pieces there, but there we go. And then the Pidgeot EX could have found the energy needed, but rare candy will be found off of the Pidgeot EX quick search. Rare candy allows that Dreepy to evolve straight into the Dragapult EX, skipping that stage 1 evolution. And now let's see if our player retreats the Pidgeot EX to a one prizer like the Manaphy or the Pidgey. Lots of cards in hand for our Roaring Moon player, so I imagine they would have had the Gust already. Ah, okay, that was pretty nice. I always forget about Dragapult's first attack. So actually, the Pidgeot EX retreated into the Dragapult EX. It uses its first attack for 70 damage to clean up the KO on the heavily damaged Roaring Moon. 2 prize cards taken there, and this game was actually pretty close, as the Roaring Moon EX flies into the active spot. It will use its Frenzied Gouging attack, dealing 200 damage to itself, but more importantly, KOing the opponent's active Pokemon for the final 2 prize cards of the game. What do you think of this video and the commentary? Please leave feedback in the comments. Like this video, subscribe to this channel. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you next time in the Professor's Lab.